Good morning. When I was first told by Barbara that I would be talking, well, I had all the intentions of talking about a unity belief. You know, it's the one of the two things we say every week. First, it's our mission statement. Then we say our unity belief. There's only one presence and one power in the universe and in me. God the good, omnipotent. Well, I started thinking about those words. And then my mind went off in its own little adventure. Does that ever happen to you? You'll be thinking about something that's really good. Then you'll remember something that's kind of like it, and you'll start thinking about that. I think we've all done that. But soon, something else will come to mind. Then something else. And if you're like me, even something else. Well, one afternoon, I started thinking about what I was going to say about the unity belief. And the word faith just popped right in. Yes, I thought, faith the size of a mustard seed moving a mountain. Ah, mountain. Big like a mountain. Powerful like a mountain. Like a storm. How about a storm that Jesus was in? How about the storm in a whale? The whale in Jonah. Now, Jonah was very small compared to that whale. Then my rambling stopped. And all I could think about was that one word. Small. Now, if you ask me, I think I was led to that word, but that's another subject. It felt comfortable to think how God uses small things to teach us. Well, so I found a few examples of how small things can, used in the right hands, teach us big things. And also to help me understand them better, I put myself in the story. You know, would I do what this person did? Well, the first small thing I want to talk about is a jar of olive oil. Then I want to talk about a worm in that famous story, Jonah and the worm. Our first story comes from 2 Kings chapter 4. Chapter 4 starts off with, a man from a group of prophets had a wife. This man died, and his wife cried out to Elisha, my husband was like a servant to you. Now he's dead. You know he honored the Lord, but he owed money to man. Now that man is coming to take my 2 boys and take them as slaves. Folks, before we go on, when I read, I always picture what the people look like. I picture a patriarch, like Elisha, in that Old Testament, with a beard, and doing this as he's thinking. Verse 2. Elisha answered, how can I help? Tell me, what do you have in your house? Well, the woman said, I don't have anything in the house except a jar of olive oil. Elisha was still fingering his beard. Check verse 3. Then Elisha said, go and borrow bowls from all your neighbors. They must be empty. Also, borrow many bowls. Isn't that strange? The bowls didn't need to be clean. They just have to be empty. Can you imagine if you lived then and a neighbor came to your house and you knew she was poor? Wouldn't you want to put some food in those bowls? You could give her some figs, oranges, or bread, anything. And if she thanked you but just kept telling you that all she wanted was to borrow some empty bowls, being the great kind of person that you are, wouldn't you think that the poor lady didn't really mean it and you just keep trying to give food to her anyhow? What would you think if she told you that a man of God had specifically said to only ask for empty bowls? Would you have faith that it was really God's plan to ask for empty bowls? To tell you the truth, I'd have trouble. But this poor woman had no trouble at all because she kept doing it to all her neighbors. So, getting back what Elijah was saying, verse 4, then go to your house and close the doors. Only you and your sons will be in the house. Then pour oil into all the bowls, fill them, and put them into empty spaces. Wow! She was having what a day! She's petrified that her children will become slaves. Think about it. She's a woman back in those days when a man was sovereign, but she still walks up to this man of God, Elijah, expecting an answer that will help her keep her children. Now, the Bible doesn't say it, but maybe she was hoping that the man of God would just plop a pile of money in front of her. But instead, he has her go to every neighbor and ask if she could borrow empty bowls. And then has to carry all those bowls to her house and then find a place to put all of them. Also, she has to take the only thing she has, a jar of olive oil. And she has to take it and go home with her kids. Close the door and pour her remaining oil into those bowls. What do you think? Would you do it? Really? Would you do it? Well, the Bible said she didn't argue. She went and did what she was told. Talk about faith. So the woman left Elijah, went into her house, and shut the door. Only she and her sons were in the house. Her sons brought the bowls to her, and she poured oil. And she poured oil. And she poured oil. And she poured oil. Can you see it? One of her sons brings over a bowl. She pours the oil, fills the bowl, stops pouring. Her other son brings over a bowl. She fills up that bowl, stops pouring. Her first son is back with another bowl, and that gets filled. And the next one gets filled, and the next one, and the next one. She is being blessed by God, and to tell you the truth, I bet you she got used to it. Verse 6. She filled many bowls. Finally, she said to her son, "Bring me another bowl." But all the bowls were full. One of her sons said to her, "There aren't any more bowls." Then the oil in the jar was finished. When she told them, verse 7, when she told the man of God what had happened, Elijah said to her, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debt. You and your son will live on the money that is left, you and your sons." Excuse me. Can you picture that in today's language? Remember Elijah stroking his beard? You had faith that God would hear your prayers. He did. He took the only thing you had, a small jar of olive oil. And not only did he meet your desires, he went well beyond them. So, go pay your debt and stay with your sons in safety. What a great story. I love these stories where all you need is faith and a small thing. Oh, like a little jar of olive oil to have a happy ending. Taking that first step, or in this story, verse 4, you can never, ever tell where God is going to lead you. But you know, way in the back of your head, you know it's going to be a better place than where you started. Now, let's talk about a hungry worm and an angry man, if you don't mind. Now, this story can be found in Jonah chapter 4. Well, I think everybody knows the first part of the story of Jonah. God wants Jonah to go to Nineveh to talk to the king and save the people. Jonah doesn't want to go. He wants his enemies to die. Jonah goes the opposite way from Nineveh. God knows this. And he creates a raging storm. To save himself, sailors throw Jonah overboard. Whale eats Jonah. Jonah prays to God. God saves Jonah. And Jonah talks to Nineveh. And God saves Nineveh. But whatever happened to Jonah after that? Chapter 4. Jonah was not happy that God saved the city. Jonah became angry. He complained to the Lord and said, Lord, I know this would happen. I was in my home country, and you told me to come here. At that time, I knew that you would forgive the people of this evil city. So I decided to run away to Tarshish. I knew that you were a kind God. I knew that you show mercy and don't want to punish people. I knew that you were kind. And if these people stopped sinning, you would change your plans to destroy them. So now, Lord, just kill me. It's better for me to die than to live. Picture this if you can. You can almost see Jonah waiting for the lightning bolts to strike him down when he says, Lord, just kill me. It's better for me to die than to live. Nothing happened. No tempest, no lightning, just the voice of the Spirit. Verse 4. Then the Lord said, do you think it's right for you to be angry? Jonah went out of the city to a place near the city of the east side. On the east side, he made a shelter for himself, and he sat there in the shade, waiting to see what would happen to that city. This is where God uses small things to teach a big lesson. Verse 6. The Lord made a gourd plant grow quickly over Jonah. This made a cool place for Jonah to sit and help him to be more comfortable. Oh, he was happy with this plant. The next morning, God sent a worm to eat part of the plant. The worm began eating the plant, and the plant died. After the sun was high in the sky, God caused a hot east wind to blow, and the sun became very hot on Jonah's head, and he became very weak. He asked God to let him die. He said, it is better for me to die than to live. There goes Jonah, always waiting for God to kill him, but again, all Spirit did was talk to him. Verse 9. But God said to Jonah, do you think it's right for you to be angry just because this plant died? Jonah answered, yes, it's right for me to be angry. I'm angry enough to die. Can you see it? The loss of that little plant by that smaller worm changed Jonah's life. And he wanted that life back. He wanted the past. He refused to look around, to look at the now, and how he could, instead of just sitting around being uncomfortable in the shelter, do something. Folks, what about us? I will bet that none of us pictured a life like what we are going through now. Is there anything that we could be doing different to improve the now for us or for our fellow man? I don't think so. By the way, God is not done with a little plan either. Verse 10. And the Lord said, you did nothing for that plant. You did not make it grow. It grew up in the night, and the next day it died. And now you're sad about it? If you can get upset over a plant, surely I can feel sorry for a big city of Nineveh. There are many people and animals in that city. There are more than 120,000 people who do not know that they're doing anything wrong. Folks, Spirit's conception of what love encompasses and Spirit's ability to love is far beyond our ability to even understand. Now, in unity, we say there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in me. God the good, omnipotent. Yeah, you see, I knew I could get back to the beginning of my talk. God can use small things in so many marvelous ways. A jar of olive oil, a worm, a plant. How about a cat, a pet? How about quiet time? And the list goes on and on and on. Now let me end with Jonah's description of God. I knew that you were kind, God. I knew that you show mercy. I don't want, and don't want to punish people. I knew that you were kind. Folks, please remember, if you are aware of the things going on around us, God can use even the smallest things, like olive oil or plants, to love